At the moment, there's a lot of hype in the industry around the carnivore diet.
Doing a carnivore diet.
Carnivore diet.
Carnivore diet.
Carnivore diet.
Carnivore diet.
So I came up with the idea of doing this diet for a month. So I started digging into some research on the carnivore diet. And what I found is that you can primarily eat 3 different things: meat, eggs, and dairy. So the first thing I needed to do was to go out and buy all the stuff I needed. Now that I had all the food that I needed, there was still one thing left I needed to do. Pretty much the only way to assess your health other than how you feel is through a quality blood test. So I went and got one done. I got my lipids checked, my testosterone done, my liver function tests. I even went as far as getting a fecal sample. Now everything basically came back normal other than one of my liver enzymes, ALT, was mildly elevated, and my calprotectin, which is an inflammatory marker in my fecal sample, was more than 3 times where it should be. Interesting. The start of the diet was extremely difficult. I was eating as much meat as I could physically stomach, and my craving for carbs was ridiculous. I got to the 2-week mark and my performance in the gym was absolutely plummeting. My strength was gone, even my aerobic performance had gone down. I went from being able to run 2.4 kilometers in around 8 minutes to dropping that by 30 seconds. So that's like a 30-second performance decrease literally in 2 weeks. My keto flu was out the gate. I had like a chronic headache for like 2 weeks and my weight was going down. So I started using every single method I possibly could to get the calories in. I literally started drinking heavy cream. Delicious. Well, that's a fucking lie. I must have been on about 4,500 calories a day and I was still losing weight. I didn't have much weight to lose, right? But I got shredded, like next level shredded. But because I felt so awful, I needed to find something to help. And that's where this man came in, Paul Saladino. There I was watching his videos when he started talking about the effect of honey and how he eats honey on his carnivore diet.
I like this honey because it's local, it's from a farm that's very high up in the mountains, so I know it's glyphosate free.
So I thought, well, although I'm doing carnivore, why not just introduce honey? So that's exactly what I did. And it made a difference almost instantly. My performance was back. In the gym, I was getting stronger again. My lifts were going back up. That performance decline I initially had going strict carnivore was now literally starting to reverse. I was starting to progress again. I started to improve aerobically. All that aerobic fitness I had lost again started to come back. It was like someone had put me on anabolic steroids. My performance was going up, my strength was going up, and my weight was also going up. I went from being at about 86 kilos, which is where I was sitting throughout the duration of the first 2 weeks on strict carnivore, back up to about 90 kilograms for the remaining 2.5 weeks of the month when I introduced honey. And that was where my body liked to sit. Prior to going strict carnivore, that was where my body was at. I was at 90 kilos before I lost all that weight and went down to 86. I went from looking like a malnourished child back to looking like my normal healthy self. My adherence got better and made it so much easier to stick to the diet. I was enjoying what I was eating. The steaks went down so much better with some honey just spread over the top. And that was it. For the remaining 2.5 weeks I had left of this diet, I managed to stick to it. But we still have one more question we need to answer. Remember at the start of the video when I said the only way to properly analyze your health is through a quality blood test? Well, what were the results? Okay, so from my blood test, pretty much everything was normal from the last test. However, the key points that I want to note is that for my liver function test, how that ALT enzyme was elevated in the last test, it went back down within the normal range, back down to 36. My total cholesterol went from 3.2 all the way to 5.8, and my LDL cholesterol, or the so-called bad cholesterol, went from 1.7 up to 4. However, this is where it gets interesting, okay? My calprotectin, that inflammatory marker that was in my fecal sample, went from being 3 times as high as it should have been, back down to within the normal range, okay? Crazy stuff. That is a huge reduction in inflammation. Okay, and lastly was my iron, something called my ferritin levels. I went from having ferritin levels at 147 at the test at the start of the month, all the way up to 237. So that's a 90-point increase. Now, ferritin is a protein that contains iron. Now, has that gone up just because the levels of iron I'm eating has increased? Possibly. My testosterone also went up from 12.3 to 15.2. Now you're supposed to test your testosterone first thing in the morning, which I didn't do. I tested mine at lunchtime, non-fasted, so are these numbers probably wrong? It's possible. Now the carnivore diet is by far one of the more interesting diets I've done. It's the only diet I've done where you get violent diarrhea for the first 2 weeks. The only diet where if you're eating strictly meat, your focus and energy levels are just flat the entire time. But what I will say is this, if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, the carnivore diet may be for you. I wasn't even trying to lose weight on this diet. In fact, I was trying to do the opposite. I was trying to gain weight, and I still lost about 4 kilograms in 2 weeks. Yes, a lot of that's going to be water, but it's still a huge amount of weight loss. To get the number of calories in you need to support any weight gain is ridiculously hard. Secondly is performance, okay? If you are trying to eat for performance, I would not recommend the carnivore diet. My strength and my aerobic performance got absolutely crushed. And thirdly, there may be something to the health of this diet, okay? My liver enzymes came back down into normal range, my inflammatory markers came down, my iron levels increased, and so did my cholesterol. So, is it good for you? I don't know, maybe. Is cholesterol bad for you? I personally think no. I don't think cholesterol causes heart disease. I think it's a risk factor. My advice would be, do it, see how you feel, take it from there. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I'll see you again in a future video very soon. Adios.